Fake study suggests racial bias in Angel Reese Caitlin Clark debate examines how social media is changing the game. Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you being here. Thank you for your support. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19. And yes, I did add the word fake before this headline because that is exactly was it what it is. And first of all, it's not a study because it's not science. Okay? It is not science. But I want to take you through this real quick and then show you proof that this is fake nonsense and also just rip some of the wording and use. They get very, very sneaky about this stuff. I think it's important to call it out. This is absolutely wild. So this is a quote unquote study going back to Caitlin Clark's "You Can't See Me," and then the response from Angel Reese to Caitlin Clark's "You Can't See Me," as well as Haley Van Lith. And I'm going to show you that this is absolute nonsense what they are saying here, and they should be ashamed of. Rice University should be embarrassed by this, but clearly they are not because this is actually on Rice's website. So this is a newly published study. It is not a study, a data-driven look. It is not data. It's opinion. It's spin. It's propaganda more so than opinion. Look at one of the most polarizing sports controversies in recent memory, the Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark debate from the 2023 NCAA Women's Championship. During the Elite Eight game, Iowa's star guard Caitlin Clark made a now famous "You can't see me" hand gesture, a taunt originally popularized by wrestler John Cena without much controversy. However, that is not actually true. The media, again, to show the nonsense of the bias, Caitlin Clark being the white lady that she is, the media continually misreported this as something that was done to Haley Van Lith. And then it says, however, when LSU's Angel Reese made the same gesture um, toward Clark in the closing moments of the national title game, the reaction was starkly different. Some media personalities and fans criticized Reese as classless and unsportsmanlike, while others defended her, leading to a nationwide discussion about double standards in sports, race, and gender. Nonsense. Nonsense. I'm going to show you it's nonsense. Now, a new study quantifies. Again, this is not quantifying. Quantifying is math, and you can show without a doubt whether it is true or false. This is opinion because we are talking about sociology. This is not a study, and it certainly doesn't quantify anything. And then, of course, he says that the difference were racialized. Racialized. Really? Okay, well, doctoral candidate Shahil Parsons. By the way, there's no way at all based on this, I'm basing it on this, that he should be a doctoral candidate because, but again, Rice University is actually proud of this. I guess this is what passes for education in our universities nowadays. They wow, 700,000 tweets from before, during, and after the game to unpack the racial dynamics at play. The study published in Sage Journals, Sage, you ought to go out of business. Again, not a study. Found that while Clark was largely celebrated, Reese was disproportionately criticized, often with, of course, tanning undertones. This wasn't just social media chatter. This was a real time reflection of how race and gender shape public perception, Parsons said. Reese and Clark did the same. Here we go. Now I'm going to get into it. Reese and Clark did the same thing, but the responses weren't just different, they were completely opposite. That contrast tells us a lot about how bias still operates today. Now, you may be familiar with this, and I'm going to play this again. I played this in a past video because I think this is also important, being we're talking about Caitlin Clark and skin color. Okay, she was actually criticized, and it was reported by the media over and over again that it was done to Haley Van Lith. Well, let's take a listen to what Haley has to say about it.
So when Caitlin Clark did the "You Can't See Me" gesture,
Yeah.
it was against Louisville,
Yeah.
and it looked like it was directed towards you. Walk me through it from your vantage point with Caitlin.
First, real quick, it was reported all over, and people to this day still believe, because it was reported all over, that it was directed to Haley. It was not.
Clark.
It was actually hilarious because right after the game, I texted her and I was like, the media is dumb. I'm sorry. Like, you guys have like, they just make stuff up. And then they just put it all over the internet and everyone thinks it's true. Like, it's just hilarious. We were laughing about it because she did it to her strength coach. Like, she didn't do it to anyone on our team, especially me. Like, definitely not towards me. She did it to her strength coach, and it wasn't even in a moment where I didn't even see it in the game. I was probably, dribbling the ball up the court after she just hit a three in our face. So, like, it's just funny.
It was after a three, by the way. I believe it was Caitlin Clark's fifth or sixth three of the game. Now, I want to play a couple other clips for you that are really short, but it goes back. I want to read this sentence again because it's so important. Reese and Clark did the same thing, but the responses weren't just different, they were completely opposite. And then they say they were opposite because of their skin color. Well, let's look at Caitlin Clark, again, not even directed at a player, directed toward her strength coach. But let's look at what Caitlin Clark did. That lasted about what? A quarter of a second, half a second, maybe? Real quick, hand to the face and down as they're going into, I believe, a timeout was called after that three, and she's looking at her strength coach. Now, let's look at what Angel Reese did a lot. We're not even getting all of it. But now let's look at Angel Reese directed to Caitlin Clark at the end of that championship game. Out of curiosity, do these look even remotely similar to you? As an honest person, would you say would you say that these, and I'm going to show you real quick because they're short. Would you say that this directed at her strength coach was the same as this? This is not even showing it all. This is a full 8 seconds long, and she is following her around, stalking her on the court, turning back to her when she goes the other way, still doing it. Now she's showing the rig figure. Are you really That's why I say this is a fake study. This is a sham. This is someone who thought, "You know what? I know the type of thing I can do to get my sham study published." Reese and Clark did the same thing. As you just saw, without a doubt, I don't care who you support in this. These are absolutely not the same thing. So then it continues going into just absolute gibberish, talking about how this research builds on the concept of colorblind racism, a framework by sociologist Eduardo Bonilla Silva. Sociology is, as the social sciences, if I may quote the great thinker of our time, Sheldon Cooper, who, yes, while a know-it-all, narcissistic egomaniac, also right a lot of the times. The social sciences are a sham, right? And he's going to say this how explains the skin color bias persists through coded language rather than overt discrimination. Absolute wild. Set out to measure this dynamic, and the results were eye-opening. No, no, they weren't, because this is absolute nonsense. Now, if you want to get into some of like trash talking and this and that in responses to women versus men athletes, there might be an argument there. You'd have to show me it and this and that, but I'm sure there are some people who may be critical of how female athletes act, but aren't as critical when the men basically do the same thing. But to tell me that these two things are in any way, shape, or form the same, and yes, by the way, if you flip their tans, I would be saying the exact same thing. And that is the problem that they never want to talk about. Okay. So, and just if I may give another quick example, because of those of you that follow the channel for a while, I'm a huge Allen Iverson fan. And, this actually just came up the other day where someone made the comment about, oh, it's just practice, referring to something Allen Iverson famously said at one time in a press conference. Talking about practice, it's just, he went on out, it's just practice. And people seized on that, where Philly fans know the real story. He had just, I believe, had a leave from the team for a few days to attend a friend's funeral. And that was what he was referencing, that of course he didn't say public. But anyway, so this is just another, this is, Rice should be ashamed of themselves, and yet here they are posting this. I don't know how this man becomes a doctoral candidate, but he's going to make a career for himself in feeding false narratives and dividing people once again. And I don't know about you, but I'm kind of sick of it. And I just thought this was something I wanted to talk about because, again, very, very selective with their language. And people see something like this, and if they don't look into it, if they don't see what I just showed you with what Caitlin Clark did compared to what Angel Reese did, and I'm not even saying one was okay and one was not. I'm saying it is a lie. It is a lie to say that they did the same thing and that the reaction was different to them doing the same thing. And then you're going to chalk it up to their tan level. That is a lie. That is simply a lie. It's an embarrassment. Rice University should be embarrassed, but of course they won't be. But I'm going to leave it there. Let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments below. Hey, you know what? I know I shouldn't have to say this for my subscribers and viewers. By the way, if you are viewing and not subscribing, smash the subscribe button. Don't forget to smash the like button as well. But I say keep it civil in the comments. And really, that's just for all of you that come in to stir up trouble, that are going to call me names and this and that. But those of you that support the channel, I don't even have to sell you, because you're fantastic with your comments. I'm going to leave it there. Like, comment, subscribe. I will talk to you later.